Let me see, because I have this pulled up. L-U-P, not Lupo. Citadel Base Shade. Oh, it's a very dark bluish green. Let me see here. I don't have a lot of green paints because all I have is my Templar paints. Um, but yeah, like a slightly brighter green. I'm not saying War Boss green would be the perfect thing for it, but like a War Boss green might be, a good edge highlighting color. And I've moved my windows around and now I can't see TikTok. There we go. So you could do a little bit of edge highlighting with, a brighter green for that. And then there's like washes and whatnot. Your Nuln Oil, your Agraxar shade. All of that. See here. I need some lead belcher and my dry brush. Don't think I'm doing edge highlights. That stuff is complex for my shaky hands. Well, let me show you a really quick, easy cheat. That is some nasty looking paint. Need to shake that up a lot more. Okay, that looks better. So I have shaky hands too. Hold on, your thing is lagging. It's stable, but I don't know for how long. Okay, so whatever paint you're wanting to use for an edge highlight, get your dry brush out and knock basically all the paint off of it and just very lightly just brush those edges. And see, that's all I got was the very top edge, and that way it looks like you've done edge highlighting, but it's just, some very simple dry brushing. Just don't go overboard with it and get it too filled in. But that's a perfect trick if you've got shaky hands and you're worried about doing edge highlighting. I hope that helps. Like I said, just hardly any paint coming off the brush at all, and just very lightly catch those edges, and you'll get, what looks like you painted, a real clean edge highlight. And dry brushing with lead belcher does awesome metal effects. So there you go. That's another little trick. Get a little heavier in there if you're trying to do like a solid metal piece. Just get that lead belcher and go to town. But 2 quick and easy tips that even you can do. I'm gonna need a lot because I have got a lot of guns to paint, because, you know, get our hordes or horde-ish. Yeah, that is one thing that I'm very hesitant to do, is because I would love to have an orc army, but oh my goodness, all of the minis that you'd have to paint for a proper WoW is astronomical. That's one of the reasons I got the airbrush, and I'm, you know, wanting to learn how to use it effectively. Is if I ever get into that point where I want to try and do a lot of minis really quick, it's just, you know, blast it with the base coat real quick, and then, you know, layer on some paints, and then it's good enough. Get this skull on here painted real quick. Thank you, Gunpla KB, for the follow. I appreciate it. Sorry I don't do Gunpla at this time. It's something I'm interested in. You know, everybody loves the Unicorn Gundam. It's like, oh yeah, that'd be so much fun to paint. But I am way too tied up in this Templar army. This is a super cheap Hobby Lobby Master's Touch brush. That's what a majority of my brushes are. I get them all from Hobby Lobby. Just various flavors for whatever I'm working on. I also like to be able to look at my pile of brushes over here and, you know, have them look a little bit different from each other, so I know if I'm grabbing a gray one with white bristles, this is one of my metallics brushes. If it's a brown brush with brown bristles, and again, Master's Touch from Hobby Lobby, this is one of my regular acrylics. Sorry for bumping the microphone. But El Cheapo Deluxe Hobby Lobby brushes. I do have one Monument Sable brush that I use for like super fine details. Quick question from an actual gun fan. Why do people call Gundams Gunpla sometimes? I have no idea. So I'm glad we have a Gunpla person in here that might be able to answer that question. That's a good question. Oh, Gundam plastic models. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. Yeah, not something I ever would have thought to ask. I just figure it was a Gundam thing. Like Gundam user or Gundam painters know what it means, so You know, go Gundam painters. But very good question. Informative for all. Gundam Plamo? Not sure what Plamo is. Unless it's Playmore. You know, Playmo with the Gundam. Tell you what. Okay, got that done. I saw a little spike that I didn't notice before coming off the bottom here. So back to the Balthazar Gold, and that's way too much paint on there. Yep, always good to learn new things. There we go. Okay, let us get some titanium white out here, because I'm assuming what's on my palette is all super dried up. Well, maybe I can bring it back. Just add water. Instant water, just add water. I don't need a whole lot. That's one of the nice things about wet palettes, is even though I've had this paint on here for a couple of days, just a little bit of water, I can bring it back and make it usable again. I'm just trying to get painting kits with brushes. Have you tried the Bojangles Sweet Tea? I've been using markers, but I had trouble avoiding pooling and getting an even coat. Bojangles is a chain of chicken restaurants on the East Coast. So think Popeyes. The only reason why I know what Bojangles is because I was stationed in Camp Lejeune, North Carolina while I was in the Marines. I mean, once a Marine, always a Marine. Just not active duty anymore. Haven't been for a long time. Think this June will be 20 years since I finished my initial enlistment. Lord Vader, can you buy off me? Can you buy what off of me? Not sure what that question is asking. Do I do commissions? No, I do not. I don't have the time. Thank you for your service. Well, thank you for your service, Mr. Anchor Clinker. You know the Marines are a department of the Navy, right? Yeah, the men's department. That you don't need. Like I said, I'm still unsure what you're asking. Like minis that I don't need? Like all the minis that I'm painting right now I need for my Templar army. So I don't have any minis to spare. Yeah, exactly. The Navy's the taxi for the Marines. My ass rides in Navy equipment. And muscles are required, intelligence not essential. And the best flavor of crayon is blue. Low-key, love rivalry between different military branches. Oh, it's so much fun. You know, just how everybody takes digs at the Coast Guard and Space Force now. But if it ever came to a knockdown drag out, we all have each other's backs. That's just how it is. That's how the Brotherhood works. I used to have this shirt from my recruiting office, you know, forever ago. It had like all the slogans, the Army wants you to be all that you can be, but the Marines expect more. The Air Force tells you to aim high, but the Marines never miss. You know, just talking crap on every other branch. I don't remember what the one for the Navy was, but it was a fun shirt. But I lost it a long time ago. Accelerate your life. I was probably like, Marines go faster. Yeah, when we were talking slogans from 20 plus years ago. But you can't tell all the good Navy jokes anymore. Everybody's too sensitive. They're like, you're hateful and intolerant. It's like, no, we're members of the armed services. We'd like to make fun of each other. It's just what we do. Just trying to clean up around these vents real quick. Oh man, no, we can't. If you can't handle the dark humor, no branch is any good for you. Oh man, the, you know, permanently incapacitated, you know, baby jokes were very dark. Like, how many of them does it take to paint a wall? I don't know. Depends on how hard you throw it. But yeah, we all fell into that category of just, you know, coming up with the most disturbing things possible. and some of our running cadences for when we were doing PT. Those were the best. Okay. Let's make this glow up a little bit. Where is my paint? Right behind a pill bottle holding another piece that I have to paint. Okay, where is this brush? I said use different brushes for all the different things that you do. Like have a brush specifically for, or a couple brushes specifically for metallics. Have one specifically for washes and contrast paints. And especially metallics and contrast paints are very hard on your brushes, so those ones generally don't last very long. And then, you know, your ones that you use for your main acrylic paints, use some brush soap, try and keep them as clean as possible, and they'll last a little bit longer. But they aren't as hard on your brushes. Finishing with an ultramarine captain with the jump pack. I've thought about some jump pack marines. I just said I'm trying to get through the combat patrol that I have, this Brutalis Dreadnought. I have the intercessors left from the combat patrol. I've got the Crusader squad done. What else? Even though I'm never going to use him, I need to paint the Marshal from the combat patrol. And then I've got the Emperor's Champion, Grimaldus, and Helbrecht sitting on the shelf behind me, ready to assemble at some point. I will get to them eventually. I don't know why I'm putting that brush away. I need it. I mean, for me, it's not necessarily a backlog. I mean, I've got some, you know, 5th edition Necrons that are still in boxes that I guess are backlog. But it's, you know, future projects that are going to be directly used in this army that I just have to get to. But it will all happen in due time. Okay, now that I've got that done and I'm knocking stuff over on my desk, get the Wraith Flame out for some green glowy buttons. I just need a good dot of paint on there. Why are you not cooperating? I guess it's going on there. And then this section. Have to be a little bit more careful over here because this is a larger spot. To keep it all looking nice and smooth. But this is one of those things that takes a couple of coats to get the full-on color that you want, because this is a very, very bright, thin green. But I like using it for buttons. Just to add some variety to the model. You know, since it's just a giant block of black power armor. There we go. That should be sufficient. Definitely coming together. And a little bit of Blood Angels red for that last little spot. Like every once in a while, if I want it a little bit brighter, I'll use the Evil Sun Scarlet. But I usually have pretty good luck with the Blood Angels red. Just getting that little red dot on there. Alright. Now that we're done with all of those little things, and do a little bit of Agrax Earthshade across the wings. I think washes are one of my favorite parts of painting minis, because it just helps bring out so much detail on whatever you're painting. It's like, compare the left side to the right side. You know, you can see each individual feather got nice dark recesses. Awesome stuff. Love it. Just don't get too carried away, because that happens too. Just flying back and forth through different colors right now. Well, I suppose I got a couple little buttons in there to paint too. But we will give this a moment to dry after I do a little Nuln Oil over the lead belcher. Get a little bit of that back off. For the most part, that looks good. And run a little bit across this back edge here. Even though it's not as detailed on the back side. Don't want to neglect it. Hey Johnny, yes, the dread work continues. Trying to get this top hatch finished up. Thank you for the likes. But this is where we're at so far. Fortunately, it's a fairly small piece, so it's, you know, easy to get this painted real quick. As long as I don't forget to paint certain parts of it. I gotta tap a little on the skull here in the middle. There we go. Thank you. I am so happy I found this music. If anybody's interested in listening to it, it's called the artist or group or whatever it's called, Jordan Beats. I've been using it on my little TikTok videos. Looked into them. They allow creators to use them for streams. So awesome music. I love it. It gets me like completely zoned in for painting minis. I mean, don't get me wrong. I like synthwave and stuff like that, which is easy to find royalty-free music for like synthwave and whatnot. But like this is perfect for painting minis. Alright, just for giggles, while parts of this are still drying, go ahead and slap that on there to get a good look at it. I like it. I don't want to be too rough with it. And of course, making sure we can still open all that up and see everything in there. I like it. Hey, Picasso, I like it. Or however that meme goes. Alright. You come back off, because I'm not done painting you yet. You go sit on your legs for a minute. Alrighty. Bust out the old Sycorax bronze now. And get some highlights done over the Balthazar gold. Thirsty. And yes, I require copious amounts of caffeine to function properly. All day, every day. Just kind of hitting a little bit on the wings here. Not getting too crazy. This is also why we keep a paper towel handy in case we do get a little too crazy and take some of it back off. I had a little bit too much water in my brush at that moment, but it's all good. Crisis averted. Like I said, it's just, you know, little tiny splashes of paint just here and there make all the difference. Excuse me. Take a drink, instantly get the burps. Yeah. Alright. Put your paints back where you got them from so you don't lose them. That is my, you know, biggest fault when it comes to painting. I just start grabbing more and more paints and dragging them down into my workspace and end up with this massive pile of paint down here, and I don't remember where anything is. Or I'll set one over on my gaming desk because I'll be doing something while I'm playing D&D on Monday nights. I'll do like a little bit of experimental painting. Like, I had never really done a lot of skin before, so I was working on painting this guy to get some practice, because last week, if you watch me stream, I worked on this for a painting contest at a local game store, and I'm waiting on the results back from that. Middle painting an AdMech army. Oh, you will need all the patience that can be mustered from the Emperor on that one. Lots and lots of tiny details and hoses. But yeah, the painting contest that thank you for the follow, Ollie. The painting contest that the local game store does every once in a while, they're fun. They get me out of my comfort zone, make me try new things. And I'm usually happy with the results. This one was from a few months ago. I did not place with it. I was very disappointed. I thought I did a good job. He's so cute. But this one, I've seen the competition. I might get third, because there are a couple in my skill category that looked amazing. Like, I'd wished I did a couple of things. And Pan, thank you for the rose. Thank you for the GGs. I appreciate it. Well, you think you're gonna go now? All right, Gruesome. Well, thanks for coming in and watching. Thank you for asking interesting questions. So now that we know what Gunpla is, my local LGS does them from time to time. My wife always wins. I'm happy if I get noticed. Yeah, That's exactly how it went. This is my wife's. She got third place in the beginner category. I didn't even place at all in intermediate. Well, they only say the top 3, and they have slots for 10 people in each skill category. They've got novice, intermediate, and expert. And like I said, the missus got third place in the novice category, and I don't know where I ended up ranking in the intermediate category. I just lost. That's just how it is sometimes. But like I said, it's a good experience. It gets you out of your comfort zone, makes you try new things, and that's probably the best thing about it. Even though I don't really need to do edge highlighting, I'm going to do just a little bit on this top metal piece. Bad Dice Roll, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. What was that? Thank you for the tiny diny. That's a first. Appreciate it. Still getting used to what all the little TikTok noises are. Like I know what sounds Twitch makes when I get follows and whatnot over there. But TikTok I'm still fairly new to. Oh, and now that I'm thinking about it, Johnny, you do retro games, right? Like, how far back retro? Like just all games or just console, any PC? NES? Ah. I was gonna ask, do you remember a racing game from like the 90s that was on PC called Carmageddon? Wouldn't it be cool if somebody remade that, did like a remastered version and re-released it? That was such a fun game. It's a horrible game, but it was so much fun. Live out your road rage fantasies in graphic detail. Yeah, there was a really bad version on N64. It was horrible. I was so so excited when I heard about it, and then I played it and like, this is awful. Yeah, they missed the boat on that one. So about rock and roll racing or Twisted Metal? Yeah. I like Twisted Metal and Jet Moto for like a motorcycle type racing, the little jet bikes. Jet Moto 2 is awesome. Don't really remember rock and roll racing though. Anyone remember that game? Which game was that? Sorry, did I miss a chat thing? No, I mean, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't see which game you're referring to, Bad Dice. Or was it the one that I was talking about? Rock and Roll Racing. I remember F-Zero and Twisted Metal. But the thing about Carmageddon, though, it was a racing game, it was a demolition derby game, and it was also a vehicular manslaughter game. It's so much fun. I know I'm ridiculous for reminiscing about running over people. What just happened there? I think I wiped the silver off the bolt onto the black. I'll fix it. Yeah, F-Zero is so much fun. I got the wife Nintendo Switch, and one of the first things she found was F-Zero on the Switch store or whatever. Instantly downloaded it. Road Rash on Genesis, Motorcycle with Combat was good also. Oh yeah, I remember Road Rash. I was one of those goofy Sega kids. But my favorite game that I could never get past like the third level was Comic Zone. Comic Zone was one of the best games ever for Sega Genesis. Yes, I was rare. Hey, Casper Cosplays, how's it going? Yes, we paint minis over here. And occasionally do some cosplay stuff, but I haven't done cosplay stuff in a while. Jet Force Gemini. It sounds super familiar, but I can't place it. But then again, I also, reminisce about games like the original Gauntlet. Because that was amazing at the time. And then Gauntlet Legends on the Xbox. So good. Barbarian needs food badly. Gotta go to work, but you got a new follower? Well, thank you for the follow, Casper. I will definitely go check you out if you got some cosplay TikToks. Probably go check you out in general if you follow. Like every time somebody follows, like after the stream, it kind of annoys my wife. I'll stay up extra late and like going through everybody else's pages, seeing what they're doing, seeing what projects they're working on, what minis they're painting. Like, it is time for you to go to bed. No, there's so much cool stuff to look at. You have to go to work in the morning. I know, I'll be fine. And I know she's watching me. But she loves me and lets me spend money on stupid pieces of plastic for me to sit in the basement and paint. Okay, apparently I'm just doing all sorts of stuff out of order. Because I meant to do my edge highlighting before I did all those little bolts, so as not to accidentally get paint on them. But it's fine. If I have to touch them up, I have to touch them up. Alright. Sorry, I just saw those little dots on the inside of the lid that, I mean, were just begging to be painted. Okay, you need to go over here for a minute because I need this. Put you away so I don't forget where my paints went, because that's my favorite thing to do, is constantly lose my tubs of paint. Too much water. Not enough color. There we go. I'm working with texture paint, so I may be quiet for a bit. I am very familiar with those moments. I mean, particularly with my bases. You know, that is a lot of texture paint on the base, so you gotta, you know, get it in just the right places. Make sure you're not getting it on the actual mini if you've already glued the mini to the base. But it's the end result that makes it all worth it. Thank you for the thumbs up, Daniel V. Appreciate it. Thanks for coming in and watching. As I ADD my way through this Dreadnought, because that's what I do. And because I haven't mentioned it tonight, if you're watching me in full screen on TikTok, my Twitch page is scrolling across the bottom. If anyone is interested and wants to follow me over on Twitch, on the About tab on my Twitch page, there is a Discord banner that is actually a clickable link that will take you to my Discord server, and a couple of folks have posted what they're working on over there, or their finished projects as they finish them up. So if anyone is interested in heading over there and looking into that, it'd also be appreciated. And it's always cool to see what everybody else is doing. And of course, this is part of the reason why, you know, do the live streams, you know, have random people pop in and then they follow me and I go look at their page and see what all kinds of cool stuff they're working on. And then I follow them and get inspirations to do other armies or projects, because that's what the hobby's all about. Okay. Thank you for the follow, Daniel V. Always appreciated. And now I get to, see that you followed me and go check out whatever you've done or are working on. Just grabbing some Dark Reaper for our first edge highlight here. The extra moisture out of our brush. Currently working on a two-door theme for Cities of Sigmar. Cool. I really need to get some terrain and start working on terrain pieces. But I need to finish my armies first. Got to get the armies finished so I can start playing again with a current army. See, there's so many different parts of the hobby that are so much fun to do. And if I let my ADD run wild, I will get distracted and pick something else up, and my Templars will go to the wayside, and I just can't let that happen right now. But that sounds like a very fun project. Sorry, I get a little quiet when I'm doing, edge highlights and everything, because I'm trying not to blow them out too wide and mess them up. But you have to do edge highlighting on black armor, or at least some precision dry brushing. How much is good paint for Warhammer? I don't know. I think the Citadel pots are what, $6-7, and they last a long time, depending on how much painting you do. I primarily use Citadel paints. I think all model paints are very similar in price. I think Vallejo, because it's sold at Hobby Lobby, might be a little bit cheaper. Got a bail bud and bros on. Keep up the greatness. Well, go support your family. Or if he's not actually family, support your friends that are equivalent to family. So you go have fun. Thanks for coming by and watching. Always appreciate any time that you have to spare. Detail work is the bane of my existence sometimes. But I'm going to struggle bust through it and get it done. Because I want this army on the table at some point. He's got the ultimate starter set. I'm trying to learn them with my buddy. Yeah, I played years ago in 5th edition, so I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I don't know how anything works anymore. All the rules changed. Everything's new to me. I was watching another streamer last night talking about it, and like the first time I got my old Necrons out and went and played a game, one of the first things they asked me is like, "Oh, what detachment are you using?" I'm like, "What?" Had no idea what he was talking about. But I know there's, tons of YouTube resources, game walkthroughs, stuff like that. And if you're, fortunate enough to live near an actual Warhammer store, I know they do quick tutorial games to get people into it. And even your local game stores, you'll always have somebody there ready to hop in and, help bring more people into the hobby. So you will have resources to help you learn the game. And maybe at some point after I get done with the Templars, might be able to convince the missus into getting like the ultimate starter set for Age of Sigmar. Because she really likes the Stormcast Eternals models, and it just gives me something else to paint on stream if she wants me to do an army for her. After I'm done with the Templars. And I have no problem playing the Skavens. She doesn't want me to. She's like, "Why would you want to play rats?" I'm like, "Because it comes in the starter set, and I have no problem painting them and playing them." But I would like to. I know it's not, very popular. I hear it gets a lot of hate, but I would like to learn Age of Sigmar and, of course, one-page rules. Yeah, Skavens are the rat race. But I'm sure I could paint some, really gnarly rat boys. I actually have a couple of Skaven Mini of the Month minis on the shelf behind me that if I need a break from the Black Templars or just, want to try out some new things, I try and pick up the Mini of the Month every month, because I'm fortunate enough to live close enough to an actual Games Workshop. So I've been trying to get up there, every first Saturday. To be able to pick up the minis. Like last month was an Emperor's Children Tormentor. There's been some Eldar minis, because Eldar got a new release over the last couple of months. Some Skaven. But they're always neat to see what the giveaway model is for the month. And the Skavens do have some cool looking models. Like some of their big bloated creepy looking rat things are kind of cool. But of course, getting to that, you also have to like dive into the lore, because that's what I do, because lore is cool. Oh my gosh, so many edges. Edge highlighting. Edge highlight all the edges. Like every time I think, oh, I'm just about done. Nope, there's another edge that needs paint. Sorry if my head gets in the way. Brush is getting a little rigid with paint. So grab a little bit more water. Make sure the brush maintains that good flexibility. Get these tiny little detailed lines done. Only to, have to turn around and do all of them over again with the second edge highlight. But, just makes it a little bit easier to see everything on there. So we'll close up the Dark Reaper. Give a little progress close up. Starting to learn lore slowly. So far, I like the salamanders. The way I looked at them was like, okay, which army has cool minis? And then I saw the Emperor's Champion. I'm like, yep, that's it. Black Templars. And then started getting into lore. I'm like, yeah, I like that. I will say it does drive me up the wall. It's like, oh, Black Templars, you must be one of those people, Istophobe, blah, 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 blah. It's like, no, I like cool looking minis. And there goes my first ban on TikTok because you're spamming viewer bots. So you can go away. Sorry, I'm live on Twitch, TikTok, and YouTube. Whenever I'm painting, I'm live on all those. Where are the Black Templars? Well, this is part of a Dreadnought for the Templars. This is one of my Crusader Squad initiates. So, trying to show him off. And that is probably one of my favorite ones that I've gotten done. His little skull hanging off his belt. Had so much fun painting these, which is why I keep doing it. But the piece I'm painting right now is the top hatch for this Dreadnought that we are slowly but surely working our way through. I prefer to use the sub-assembly method because there's so many tiny details that once you put the whole model together, you just can't get to them. Which is why my intercessors from the combat patrol have no heads and arms, because I have to paint the crest on the chest, and all these guys have auto bolt rifles. So the bolt rifle is held across the chest, so I'd never be able to paint anything in this area if the arms were attached. So we just piece by piece work our way through it. And then I was experimenting because Templars always have to have like extra chains on them. They chain their weapons to their hands so they can't be dropped in combat. So a big theme for Templars is chains. So I figured out how to add some chains to the shoulder pad. Eventually I'll get to painting it and get the arms on. I still have to do the other one so it matches, but we haven't got there yet. But we will. We are working our way through the mini. Yes, the missus helped me with my chains. Mainly because I stole her baking soda out of the kitchen. Baking soda on super glue helps it, basically helps it dry instantly, and then, you know, makes a kind of a paste in there that hardens like a rock and gives the chain something to actually hold on to. So these things aren't coming off. It's so cool. Yes, my wife is awesome. As she makes me talk about her in my stream. But I love my wife and she's amazing. Because like I said, she lets me waste ridiculous amounts of money on stupid little pieces of plastic. But I have so much fun painting these. And I have so much fun just sitting here talking to you guys too. It makes my night twice a week while I'm working on my minis. Just sitting down here, relaxing, chatting. Super glue is perfectly fine for minis. Like during my initial assembly, I will use the Tamiya extra thin plastic cement. But as soon as you get paint on your mini, the plastic cement won't do anything except for ruin your paint. But super glue will ruin your paint too, so you have to be very careful with it. But once you have your primer on the mini and you can't use the plastic cement anymore, everything has to be done with super glue. So that's one of those things to, think about when you're, putting your minis together. It's like, okay, if it's painted, I have to use super glue. If it's not, I can use the plastic cement. We're just going to work our way around those edges a second time, doing a slightly thinner line with a lighter color of paint. Just helps those edges stand out a little bit more. A single edge highlight is often more than enough, but if you're going for that extra little pop of detail, you can do a couple of rounds of edge highlighting. But this is one of those things where you're doing, so much super fine detail, sometimes you forget where you've painted and where you haven't. It's like, did I get the second color on that? Okay. But yeah, the super glue I use is just the Gorilla super glue brush and nozzle. Sometimes I need to use the brush for things. Sometimes I need a little bit more. Don't have to be as accurate, so I'll use the nozzle. But yeah, super glue. And then always keep super glue in your army bag for when you're taking the minis out to go play, because it happens to everybody. You'll break a piece off of your mini, and because it's already painted, you got to super glue it back together. So keep super glue around in your mini first aid kit. Because it is inevitable you'll break a mini or break a piece off of your mini. It happens to all of us. I've already broken a sword off of one of my neophytes. I was like super upset when I did it too. Like, just got him painted, wanted to show him off, stuck him in the army transport, and he just sat in there wrong, and his sword snapped off right above the hilt. I'm like, ah. But I had my super glue with me, so I accidentally clipped the pegs that were on the bottom of the mini. Now it won't stand. Like, if you're talking about like one of the Unipose models, that's an easy fix. Either super glue or the plastic cement. Like this guy right here, you know, he's got little pegs. So even if you do clip those off, just a dab of super glue right there, or plastic cement, just kind of squeeze them together and he'll hold. He'll stand on there. Nothing to worry about. That is a minor inconvenience. Nope, as long as you've got, you know, the surface that it glues to, because lots of these models, like what comes in the combat patrol, there's no pegs for the arms to connect to. Like, there are no pegs to snap this guy together. It's all plastic cement, and will be super glue holding this together. So when you get into your more complex minis, you just have alignment tabs or recesses. There's no little peg that sticks through to hold it in the right position. Which is why a lot of people like the other minis that aren't monopose, because they can do a lot more unique poses with them, stances, kit bash with them, add extra little bits and bobs and details. But yeah, there's so much neat, fun stuff that you can do with your minis. And I'm sure there's guys that, you know, cut those little pegs off to be able to put them in different poses. But, you know, it's one of those things, they're your minis, and your imagination is your limit on them. All right, I think that is almost a full round of edge highlighting. I need to touch up inside the shell here. Because if this is open, you got to be able to see all the detail inside as well. Like watching me paints, give me ideas. That's why whenever I get new followers, I always go check out and see what they're doing. Because I might see something and be like, oh, that'd be so cool to try. Then I save that idea for later, and if I get a chance to do it, a lot of times I will. But I mean that's what the hobby's all about, you know. Seeing other people's minis, building off of their ideas. It's just so much fun to see what people come up with. And then, of course, you know, every once in a while, see somebody that's knocked a mini out of the park, and you're just like, oh, I'm so jealous. I wish I could do that. Like people that can take, you know, this itty bitty piece of plastic and actually paint symbols on it and make it look like actual text instead of just like little scribbles or writing. I'm so jealous of people that can do that. It's like, I've tried thinning my paints and this and that, and I can't get it to come out like that. Like, oh, so envious. But that's what I keep working up towards. You know, it's like one of these days I might catch somebody's TikTok or somebody's live, and they're like, hey, dum-dum, this is exactly how you do it, and it's easy. Yeah. Sometimes it's like my hand's shaking, or like the paint just won't flow off the brush or something. I don't know. But like I said, I always enjoy seeing what everybody else is doing. And, you know, if it's something that I can emulate, I will. All right. Now this piece is officially done and gets to be added to the mini. So there we are. Our nicely enclosed sarcophagus. And of course, this is designed to be opened up. So we get to look inside and see all the fanciness going on in there. Super happy with that. Cannot complain. But I can't play with it too much because the paint will scrape off. And then resting on the legs. Oh yeah, now you will find some interesting stuff, especially when it comes to Sigismund, and who was the first Templar, and Merrick Grimaldus, the Reclusiarch chaplain of the Black Templars. High Marshal Helbrecht has some cool story bits about him as well. There's just like way too much cool stuff about Templars. But like I said, be warned, because I hear about it every once in a while. People are like, you know, if you like Black Templars, you're, you know, a bad person. It's like, whatever. I like cool looking minis. You know, go ahead and try and tell me that that is not one of the coolest minis in all of Warhammer. Supposedly, certain bad groups who have stupid ideas about race or creed or whatever have adopted some of the iconography from the Black Templars. And so as soon as you pick up a Black Templar mini and, you know, say that I'm going to play them, they automatically associate you with stupid people. It's infuriating. But you will hear it, like I said, if you pick up Black Templars and start painting them, you will hear about it. And it's just like, whatever, dude, shut up. I've got cool minis. You're just jealous that, you know, that my army gets the Emperor's Champion and yours does not. Well, now what? I mean, I know what. I have plenty of other stuff that I need to get painted. But I don't have a whole lot of time left. Even Space Wolves, they're like, oh, well, you just like drunk frat boys. That's how ridiculous people are. Space Wolves are bad people too. It's like, shut up, it's a tabletop game. Let people have fun. People like what they like. Alright, I need to clear some area so I'm not accidentally spraying things that I don't want to spray. Exactly, Space Vikings. Although, that's the other thing, there's also another group that really likes Space Wolves, and it's the furry community. Why? I don't know. It makes no sense. Furries like Space Wolves. Regardless. You know, all the armies have cool individual models. Like Bjorn the Fell-Handed is an awesome Space Wolf specific Dreadnought. Such a cool mini. And I think he just got re-released. Or is about to get re-released. Alright. I need some Corax White to be able to drop into the old airbrush. And I'm still learning how to use the airbrush, so we're experimenting. But I do know I need to make sure this is shook up really, really well, because Corax White is, you know, all white paints are very difficult to paint with because a lot of times they will dry chalky looking. So that's why I want to try it in the airbrush. Except for this Pro Acryl Bold Titanium White, I've only used it a couple times. I got it for this most recent painting contest because it is amazing for getting in like little recessed areas to try and create a glow effect. So that's what all these lines are, is the Bold Titanium White with a contrast paint over them because it looks cool. But I have been interested in seeing what kind of results I can get with Corax White in the airbrush. So we're gonna blob some down into this glass jar. And this is definitely going to take a decent amount of airbrush thinner. Try not to fling paint anywhere. Get in the little jar. Trying not to make a massive mess with this. Okay. Like I said, I'm new to the whole airbrushing thing. So this may go good or this may go awful. But of course, have to get the paint thinned down so that it will flow through the airbrush. And I know that is entirely too thin. But I also have a little mixing ball in here, so I can't just like dump the whole pot over into the little glass jar. Get in there. All right, hopefully that's enough. Make sure we get this mixed up very, very well. And then we'll see what happens. And I guess it's not, you know, a super bad thing if we have, you know, very thin paint. We'll just have to do a couple extra coats. But it seems to be coating the inside of the glass well, which I think is what you're kind of going for. And of course now my brush is a mess, but this is a silicone brush, so I'm not going to tear it up. But I use silicone brushes to get paint out of pots sometimes, because that is the biggest disadvantage to using Citadel paints, is everything comes in these ridiculous little pots instead of like a squeeze bottle that you can just drip onto your wet palette or your palette or whatever you're using to hold your paint. Okay, once again, Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby for all of your inexpensive painting needs. Okay, I made sure to charge up the air compressor before getting started tonight. So we will add our paint into our airbrush. And we will see what happens. Try not to get paint on anything that I don't intend to paint. I'm sorry for the obnoxious air hissing from the airbrush. But we're trying new things. And hoping for the best. I think that's all right. Now, the big issue is these shoulder pads, because I know I painted them black, but I want the outside edges to be the Sycorax white, or Corax white. And I can go in with the black and touch that up. Oh, that's exactly what I wanted. I love it when experimentation works. Yes, there are. There are lots and lots of different chapters to choose from. Oop. And if you are so inclined, you can even create your own chapters. I think I had a brief little clog in the airbrush. I think it worked itself out. I'm definitely not gonna complain about those results. Yes, you can make your own custom chapters. It's in the rule book of, like, if you decide you want to come up with your own custom Space Marine chapter, you're more than welcome to. They can be an offshoot of an existing chapter, or something completely new, unique to you. All right, well, I'd say airbrushing successful. And those will just take a little bit of touch up here and there with the brush and some Abaddon black. But now I need to clean this thing immediately, otherwise I will have issues with my airbrush. So, get out the old cleaning pot. Make sure the needle can go back as far as possible. You can kind of see that little divot open up in there. The paint coming out, and quick wipe with a paper towel. And go ahead and throw the airbrush cleaner in there. Mix that around a little bit. That's why it's always very handy to have rolls of paper towels immediately available. So I'm making an absolute mess everywhere. Slide that away so the vapors coming out of this thing don't affect the minis. I don't even know if I'm cleaning the airbrush right, but this is what I've done and the couple of times that I've used it. But the airbrush has been super nice to use so far. But definitely want to make sure you get that airbrush thoroughly cleaned before you put it away for the evening. Just trying to run a bowl of cleaner, a partial bowl of cleaner through it. Sorry, this takes a minute sometimes. There we go. Got all that pulled down through it. Trying to get all of this paint out of here. And then the last thing that I've done is I'll throw a little bit of rubbing alcohol in there, because that rubbing alcohol breaks down miniature paints. So now I have to be very careful that I don't spray this on a mini or touch a mini with these gloves on. I'll have to change my gloves. And again, work on blasting this through the airbrush, making sure it's thoroughly cleaned out. And I have made an absolute mess. But we're getting there. We almost got the alcohol run through. Okay, alcohol is through the airbrush. And I'll be right back because I have to go disconnect the hose. Because they also tell you once you have cleaned the airbrush to break it down and make sure everything is wiped down real well. So, cool. Pull our paint pot off. Making sure we don't lose any O-rings. Pop this off the air hose. And for some reason this one likes to come apart in the wrong spot, but it's fine. Take that off. Take the nozzle off. Wipe this out. Sorry, I know this is not the most exciting thing to watch right now. It's like, oh, this dum-dum just cleaning an airbrush. Nobody wants to watch that. But maintaining your tools is always important. And we just wipe this needle off real well. And that should be it. So we push the needle back into the airbrush. Screw this little locking nut back on. Screw the handle cover back on. This part protects the nozzle. Reattach it to your hose and then put your paint cup back on. And that is a clean airbrush. So now I can set this back off to the side of my desk until the next time I need to use it. And definitely get rid of these gloves that might have alcohol on them. And since I'm not overly worried about doing a little bit of touch-up stuff with a brush while holding these, I will go ahead and work on these a little bit to finish the night off, because we are almost out of time for tonight's live. They usually stop around 10 o'clock. But get our black on, our Abaddon black back on our wet palette. Thin the paints. And just trying to butt up to that line and no farther. And just black out the shoulder pad again. Or black out the sides of the shoulder pad again, not the whole shoulder pad. But I will say the airbrush has definitely been a worthwhile investment. Thanks, babe, for letting me get the airbrush. Make sure I'm getting this angle right. But that just saved me so much time in painting. Spraying these little bits with the Corax white. And that is probably the smoothest I've ever seen my Corax white on a Mini. So definitely worth it learning how to airbrush. Like I said, I'm a complete and total airbrush noob. So I probably did all sorts of stuff wrong when I was doing that, but I did get the results I was hoping for, so we'll call that a win. Just kind of doing one side of the shoulder pad at a time. That way I'm not flipping it over and smudging wet paint when I have to do the other side, because by the time I'm painting this one, the first one should be dry. Suppose I should be a little less concerned on this one because I still need to glue the chains to it. But the touch-ups need to happen. Look how clean that looks. Oh, it's so good. So excited about this now. I mean, I'm always excited about painting my Dreadnought, but definitely more excited after being successful with the airbrush momentarily. But like I said, we're just trying to get these touch-ups done real quick before calling it an evening. There we go. That looks better. Almost there. So then just got some work to do on the back side of it, but that's fine. Get our other side touched up here. I said don't be super concerned if you can't get complete coverage in a single coat. Let it dry, come back to it. Better to have multiple thin coats that are nice and smooth than one thick gloopy coat. And with as quick as these acrylic paints dry, I mean, it's nothing to work your way around and flip it over and come back. I might have to do a little brush work across the top edge with the Corax white, but that will be a problem for later. Definitely dig this song. It's one that I'll stop and put on repeat. Very much enjoy it. But slowly working side of the shoulder pad. Get a nice solid black on it once again. Back to what it was before. Because I had, these are a couple of parts I initially tested the airbrush on, just to see if I could get, nice smooth paints with the airbrush. And I was happy with it, but the more I looked at minis, the more I was like, oh, I need to do white on the outside edge of the shoulder pads. Or I wanted to do white on the outside edges of the shoulder pads. Yeah, I'm gonna have to touch up along the top with some Sycorax white, or Sycorax. Why do I keep saying Sycorax? Corax white. That's what it's called. It's paint. Corax white. Sycorax bronze. Keep mixing up the two paint names. Not that it really matters. But I want somebody watching and be like, oh, well, so Dune Gunner said, oh, you got to use Sycorax white, and Sycorax white doesn't exist. No, just plain old Corax white. Okay. If I need to do any further touch-ups, either with the black or the white, that will be for our next painting session. Until then, I hope you all have a good night. I hope you enjoyed watching. Our next round of painting will be the meltas that go on either side of the bottom of the chassis here. And we will get back to this next week. Next Tuesday, hope to see you all back. And we will continue painting. Thanks for coming by and thanks for watching. You can also find me, same username, on Twitch and YouTube. If you go follow me over on Twitch, there's also a permanent link to a Discord where I share my work in progress pictures and my completed pictures as I get stuff done. Also links to all the videos on Twitch and YouTube and extra notifications if you need them to catch me live is all on the Discord, which is at Dune_Gunner on Twitch. So twitch.tv/Dune_Gunner. So all of that will be over there. I said the Discord banner on the About You is a permanent link to the Discord page. Hope to see you over there. Thanks for coming by. Thanks for watching. And we will see you back next week, unless you want to watch Monday night for a little bit of D&D action. That's at 7:30 to 10 p.m. Monday nights. But until then, we'll see you later.